Okay, everybody, if we could have everybody grab their seats, we're going to get the program started here. Wow, it was pretty fast. Bit quiet pretty quick. Well, good afternoon and welcome. I'm Steve Young, Chair of the NMU Board of Trustees, and on behalf of the board, I want to welcome everyone to this 2024 Alumni Awards Luncheon. Before I start with a few remarks, I want to acknowledge that Northern Michigan University is located on the ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe Three Fires Confederacy. Welcome, fellow board members and honorees. It's always a pleasure when the NMU Board of Trustees and the Alumni Advisory Board and NMU Foundation Board trustees, we all get together. It's a great event for all of us. It's my honor to introduce my fellow trustees and ask them to stand and be recognized as I call their name. We'll start with Vice Chair Alexis Hart. Oh, there's, okay, Alexis. Trustee Lisa Fattanti of Kingsford. Where's Lisa? There's Lisa over there. I would point out that these two, unfortunately, are term limited off our board at the end of this year and will be missed. This is their last homecoming. So give them a special recognition for all their service on the board. Thanks to both of you. The rest of our trustees, as we have Missy Holmquist here today from Marquette. There's Missy over there. Bridget LaPointe Dunham from Baraga is here. So, oops, right there. Steve Lindberg of Marquette. There's Lindy. Greg Sepinen of Marquette. And Greg Toutant of Negaunee. The leaders and members of the Alumni Foundation Boards will be introduced in a few moments by our event host, Bill Laxo. But I wanted to take an opportunity to thank all of you for your service to Northern Michigan University. It's very much appreciated. Your work matters and has a positive impact on the university as a whole and on our students, faculty, and staff and alumni. And I thank you all for your service. I also want to welcome the students who have joined us today. I hope hearing about today's outstanding award recipients will inspire you in your personal and professional careers as you go forward. To our honorees today, Jim Mansfield and Jim Thorburn, Megan, Ryan, Ann, and Patrick, congratulations on being selected to receive some of Northern Michigan University's highest honors. You are being honored for all that you've accomplished since graduating from Northern. Your work has made a difference in the world. And thank you for being such outstanding representatives and ambassadors of this university. We are proud to call you Wildcats. Again, congratulations on your awards and welcome back. Now I'm going to turn the podium over to Bill Laxo, class of 1984 and a member of the NMU Alumni Advisory Board, who's going to serving as our host this afternoon. Bill?
Appreciate it. Well, thank you, Chair Young, and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for being here. Your presence here is truly appreciated, and it's meaningful. As Steve said, my name is Bill Laxo. I'm a vintage 1984 graduate, and it's my great honor and privilege to be your host MC and to introduce to you the 2024 Alumni Award recipients. As we get started, I'd like to do maybe a few more formal introductions. First, I will introduce to you the president of Northern Michigan University, Dr. Brock Tessman, and his wife, Kristen. Brock, Kristen? Oh. Other special guests with us this morning include members of the NMU Alumni Advisory Board. Those are my peeps. And Chris Charbonneau is our president. Chris? And will other members of the Alumni Board please stand to be recognized? Also, members of the NMU Foundation Board of Trustees. Mark Pinninen is the president. Mark? Oh, there he is at my table. And will the rest of the foundation board members please stand to be recognized as well? Okay, there is a full list of member names in your programs. I suggest you study those, commit those to memory. There will be a quiz for big cash prizes later, so, or maybe not. If I'm not mistaken, I think there are also former Alumni Award recipient people in the audience. So if you were a former Alumni Award recipient joining us here today, would you please stand to be recognized as well? And finally, I want to thank the Alumni Relations staff. Michelle Cooley, Executive Director of Development and Alumni Relations, Kelsey Lynch, Alumni Relations Coordinator, and Kylie Bunting, Director of Alumni and Foundation Communications. Those folks are the ones who do the work that make events like this possible, and you'll also see their handiwork in the other events that are going to be taking place this homecoming weekend. So thank you for all your work. So I think standing up here, I may have heard something, and it sounded like maybe a stomach growling, maybe a little rumble of hunger. So maybe we should get going with our meal. And at your table, if there's anyone that you haven't met yet, please go ahead and introduce yourself. This is a great time to do a little networking, some introductions. Share your background, ask about theirs, compare your favorite places to hike, your favorite professors, maybe a place where you dined or perhaps even gathered for an adult beverage or two. So go ahead and take the opportunity, and we'll be back and we'll resume the program shortly. Enjoy your meal. Okay, everybody, I hope you're enjoying your meal. I hope it's good. And you know, I've been doing this 5, 6, 7 years now. And I swear the dining services staff raises the bar every single year. So if you just give a round of applause, they feed us so well. All right, so are you feeling it? Are you starting to feel the excitement building? Because really, this is the most exciting part of today's event, is being able to celebrate our 2024 Alumni Award honorees. This year's group, these honorees, they really demonstrate that if you get a degree from Northern Michigan University, it can take you to extraordinary heights, either in your career or community service. When you start at Northern, you can truly go anywhere. So if you take a moment to read the full biographies for these amazing individuals in the program on your table, that would be great. I'm also going to mention that this year, the Alumni Advisory Board created an award to honor a current faculty or staff member who is not only outstanding in regards to their commitment to current students, but someone who also goes above and beyond the call of duty with the alumni. Our first winner, unfortunately, was unable to attend today. I think somehow a family wedding or something trumped being with us all, but that kind of makes sense. And so she wasn't able to be here today, but we wanted to recognize her. She was presented her award earlier this week, kind of like the Academy Awards, where they'll mention that someone received an award in the week prior. And so our board president, Chris Charbonneau, presented the award to Chef Eldon McDonald of the Hospitality Leadership Program. So yeah, she has done. And I don't know if all of you remember, especially during the COVID years, she had all of these online cooking classes and demonstrations. It was truly amazing, so we're happy to honor her. So we're going to get started with today's kind of formal agenda, and we're going to begin with the Alumni Service Award. The Alumni Service Award recognizes a Northern Michigan University graduate whose volunteer service, civic endeavors, or contributions to their community have been outstanding for a minimum of 10 years, or whose volunteerism, contributions, and/or recruitment efforts on behalf of Northern Michigan University are above the norm. This year, that individual is Mr. Jim Mansfield. Jim Mansfield, a retired university administrator, earned a Bachelor of Science in Physical Education in 1961 and a Master of Arts in Education in 1964 from NMU. In his volunteer work since retirement, Mr. Mansfield has served the local blood center, Vitalent, for 24 years. He's received every award they bestow, including their highest honor, the Excellence in Achievement Award. He also served Vitalent as a volunteer courier, logging, get this, 335,000 miles. He was a chair of 6 blood drives, which netted enough blood to save 4,000 lives. In 2023, Jim received the President's Lifetime Achievement Award, signed by President Joe Biden, in recognition of his 7,304 hours of service to this nation. Esteemed guests, I present to you the recipient of the 2024 Alumni Service Award, Mr. Jim Mansfield. Congratulations, sir. Thank you. Do you want to present the award now or at the end of his remarks?
At the end is fine.
Great, thank you.
Wow. A lot of surprises. I came out of the parking lot, and my grandson, who is a pilot, flew up here from Madison Heights, from Ann Arbor, actually, and is here with me today. And Ryan, stand up. One of my teammates, Paul Goldman, is in the audience. One of my fraternity brothers, Dave Blomquist. All the surprises coming together. I want to congratulate all the award winners. I've read all that you've done. I am in awe. I'm here for, or glad I'm here, for 2 reasons today. One, I am honored and absolutely humbled out of the thousands of people who could have been selected for this award, who are grads of Northern, that I was picked. The second reason I'm here has to do with a picture of some of my football teammates, and anyone who wants to look at that later can just holler at me at table 1. This is quite a group of guys. This is Frosty Frazaka was our coach. I played defensive tackle for Northern for 4 years. And this group is, average height was 6'3", average weight was 220. Think about that, all those years back. Average speed, we don't know because stopwatches didn't time anything that moved that slow. I love Northern. Northern gave me the tools to do what I was able to do. One of those things that you don't realize when it's actually happening. I love Marquette. Marquette gave me my lovely bride, Charlotte Brainerd. We met at the Shiras Pool, which used to be out at Presque Isle. She was a lifeguard out in the middle of the pool in a little rowing boat, and I rowed out, or swam out, and was flirting with her. And that's when we first met. 3 years later, we got married, and last month we celebrated 64 years of married life together. Sometime after we were married, I said, "Do you remember when we first met?" And she said, "No." I said, "I was hanging on your boat out at the Shiras Pool." She said, "Do you know how many guys hung on my boat?" Service to me is making a difference in people's lives. I know because of the various organizations and boards and so on that all of you represented here have had someone in your life who has made a difference in your life. You have made differences in some other people's lives and you may not have even known it. And so when I was in university work, I was a dean or director of admissions at 4 different Division I schools, 2 Jesuit universities, the University of Detroit and Gonzaga. And then I tried the public sector and was the head of the admissions office in 2 flagship universities in Alaska and Wyoming. And the contacts you make with students in terms of having making a difference on their life is really important. I was on campus here in 2011, and I was driving through, and this car pulled up alongside of me and said, "Pull over." And I thought, what did I do? Did I run a stop sign? He said, "I want to talk to you." And the gentleman gets out of his car, and it's Les Wong. He's the president of the university. And I thought, oh my gosh. He said, "Why do you have a Northern Michigan University sticker on the right side of your vehicle and a Gonzaga University sticker on the left side of your vehicle?" I said, "I was the dean of admissions there at Gonzaga, and I went to Northern." He said, "Come with me, follow me. I'm going to meet my family at a restaurant." We went somewhere up where the North End Tavern used to be. And his whole family he's a couple sons, I remember, and his wife. And he said to them, "This is the man who admitted me to Gonzaga University as a freshman." I made a difference in Les Wong's life. And you know why I know that? He told me I did. And so that's very, very special. When I retired, I worked 38 years in the area of education, and I thought, what do I do now? Of course, my wife was scared to death because now I'm going to be home just bugging her. And I got a tap on the shoulder from God, and he said, "This is what you're going to do." And it turned out I ended up at the blood center picking up blood from blood drives, driving all around in their vehicle, and then later on delivering in a wide radius all the way into eastern Montana, northern Idaho, blood to hospitals. And I won't go into detail about the people I know whose lives I saved or prolonged, but I know that I made a difference in a lot of those people's lives. And I would ask you that if you want to make a difference in someone's life, when you get home, call your local blood center and sign up to give blood. Only 4% of the people in the country who are eligible to give blood give it. There's a unit of blood used in a hospital every 2 minutes. It's so bad that it's almost at a triage situation where if you need blood, they might have to give it to someone else who needs it more than you. So thank you, and thank Northern. Thank you all for being here. Amen. Brock and I were almost neighbors. He came here from the University of Montana, just 180 miles from my house. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jim. Boy, sure is a lot more to retirement than pickleball and golf, huh? Truly inspirational. Okay, now we're going to shift gears slightly, and we're going to move to the Outstanding Young Alumni Award. The Outstanding Young Alumni Award recognizes an NMU graduate under age 36 at the time of nomination who has shown endeavors in professional, civic, business, political, or similar activities that set the candidate clearly apart from their peers and has shown service and/or honor to NMU through their endeavors. This year we have 2 Outstanding Young Alumni Award recipients. Not 1, but 2. You get a bonus. The first that we're going to recognize is Dr. Ryan McAllister. Ryan McAllister is an esteemed figure in the field of biosafety. He earned a Bachelor of Science degree in biochemistry in 2010 from NMU, and then earned a Master's of Science degree in pharmacology and toxicology in 2014, and a PhD in the same field in 2018, both from the University of Louisville. Today, he is Rutgers University's Biosafety Program Manager, Biosafety Officer, and alternate responsible official. He leads a team of 7 infectious disease professionals overseeing biohazardous research in diverse laboratory and clinical settings. Prior to joining Rutgers, Dr. McAllister held positions as Assistant Biosafety Officer at Stanford University and the University of Louisville. In addition to his institutional roles, Ryan is a respected biosafety consultant for prominent organizations. He also shows his commitment to mentorship through his biosafety consulting company, BioRisk Reduction. There, he oversees a team of 40 members and mentors 10 to 15 individuals on an individual one-to-one basis. Esteemed guest, Ryan McAllister.
Thank you for that kind introduction. Good afternoon, fellow Wildcats. It's a great honor to receive this award among the many successful graduates NMU has produced. I never could have dreamed where I would be in my career today upon graduation from Northern. When I left Marquette after graduation 14 years ago to move to Louisville, Kentucky for graduate school, I did not know the next time I would return, and I could not have ever imagined it would be to receive such an honorable award. It's great to be back in this wonderful city I once called home, and among the community that helped develop me to face the trials and tribulations of the world and the problems I would have to solve within my career. At Northern, I was able to build a strong foundational knowledge base in biochemistry, which prepared me to conquer my graduate degrees and to lead Stanford's and Rutgers research programs in relation to biosafety, biosecurity, recombinant materials, dual-use research of concern, and human gene therapy clinical trials. None of these terms I knew while I was at Northern, so in lay language, this means I protect ill patients, researchers, communities, and the environment from infectious disease, biological toxins, and genetic editing. I learned a lot more than biochemistry at Northern. I'm forever grateful for my well-rounded education, including biology courses at Dead River and Hogsback Mountain, philosophy, and most importantly, Native American studies. My time spent at Northern instilled confidence, and my ambitious mindset developed here landed me in one of our great nation's 12 academic biodefense laboratories in place for pandemic preparedness and response. Northern was a launch pad for my work with hemorrhagic fever viruses, both in the US and in South America, ensuring safety within expedited research projects during the pandemic, reviewing and at times challenging medical doctors' investigational recombinant therapies for subject toxicity safety, efficacy, and risk-benefit analysis. I have many fond memories at Northern, to which I will share a few that many of you likely share. I remember studying countless hours in the library, late hours at night, having to walk up and down the hill to go to classes, and in the wintertime, sometimes falling down on the ice. Glad I'm not the only one. The laboratory techniques I failed and then persevered to excel at. Achieving the Dean's List for the first time after starting with less than an impressive GPA in my first semester, and then attending hockey games, the UP 200, exercising at the Peace, nights out on 3rd Street, outdoor activities such as snowboarding and hiking. So with all that said, I'm just going to conclude with a thank you to my parents, Gordon and Paula, sitting over there, my brother Kyle, who couldn't be here today, for being able to see my potential, never giving up on me, and supporting me. My wife, Whitney, who's also in attendance today, for also supporting and encouraging me through graduate school to my time today. Professors, for taking time to educate outside of lectures, prospect graduate school opportunities, and instill in me the desire and initiative to continue to learn through self-education. Mr. Jeff Sims, class of 2010, homecoming king of 2008, for being my lifelong friend and nominating me for this award. The Alumni Association for the hospitality, notably Kylie and Amanda, President Tressman for being here today and giving the award, and of course, the Alumni Association. To my previous classmates and colleagues, you were just as important to the aforementioned people. If you find yourself watching this recording and would like to reconnect, you can do so. Just find me on LinkedIn. Thank you for this renowned award, and go Cats.
Congratulations again, Ryan. Our other recipient of this year's Outstanding Young Alumni Award is Megan Persons. Megan Persons is the Enrollment Equity Coordinator at Grand Rapids Public Schools. She earned a Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education in 2012 from NMU, and in 2016 she earned a master's degree in Urban Education from Davenport University. Megan has spent the entirety of her tenure as an educator with her K-12 alma mater, the Grand Rapids Public Schools, serving as a teacher, a coach, and an administrator. In her current position, she oversees the execution of equity-based enrollment initiatives for 40 schools and 15,000 students. She also founded and serves as program director of the Grand Rapids Union Youth Football Program and co-founded and currently chairs the LGBTQIA+ Advisory Committee for the Grand Rapids Public School System. Megan sits on the Grand Rapids Chamber of Commerce's Outpro Council, and some of her other significant achievements include completion of the New and Aspiring Leaders Program through the Harvard Graduate School of Education, receiving the West Michigan Woman Emerging Leader Brilliance Award, and being named a 40 Under 40 award winner by the Grand Rapids Business Journal. Ladies and gentlemen, Megan Persons.
Good afternoon, everyone. President Tessman, Board of Trustees, members of the Alumni Association, campus faculty, and fellow honorees, it's truly an honor to share space with you today. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Joe Lubig, who's kept track of my work since I graduated from NMU and who nominated me for this award. And to my family who's celebrating with me today, my wife, my son, and his best friend who feels like one. It means so much that you're here today, but even more that you're with me all the time. I love you. I started at NMU in the fall of 2007, electing to leave a metro area of over 1 million people to come here, a city of maybe 20,000. In the time it took me to get from Grand Rapids to Marquette, I could have landed in places like Kentucky or Tennessee, but truthfully, Northern just felt like a second home. I spent 5 years here, victory lap, leaning into every opportunity that this university afforded me because I learned that while I was here, I really could do anything. As a freshman, I was a custodial worker in my residence hall. As a sophomore, I became hall president, and as a junior, I became a resident advisor. During my time on campus, I helped launch a group called Women for Women, now known as Feminism for All, and I served as a member of the Student Finance Committee, new student orientation staff, and campus visit staff. I double majored in history and English education, tacked on a gender and sexuality studies minor, and even had the opportunity to take an independent studies course with a professor who was willing to help me individualize my education. I also built profoundly meaningful relationships with professors who cared about me not just as a student, but as a person. Professor Larkin, who's here today, Professors Richmond, Logan, and Hislop, shout out to you. I name my participation in all these things not because they speak to my work ethic, but because they speak to my values, values that I believe Northern embodies too. I grew up learning that all people deserve an opportunity and that we have a responsibility to each other to create those opportunities when we can. I grew up seeing that strength doesn't come from wielding power, but from empowering people. I grew up experiencing the impact of sitting at tables big enough for every body and every voice. And I've made it my personal and professional mission to make sure that wherever I go, I continue to build big enough tables for everyone. As mentioned, I currently serve as the Enrollment Equity Coordinator for the Grand Rapids Public Schools, which means I support our schools and our families in making sure that we're maximizing learning opportunities for 14,000 plus students in the district. This work is important to me because I believe that the only way that we can achieve equitable outcomes is by first providing equitable access. And that's even more important in a district like mine, where the large majority of our scholars come from historically marginalized backgrounds and under-resourced communities. This means that sometimes my days are spent working with an individual caregiver to identify the needs of their child. Sometimes it's collaborating with different departments to determine how we can eliminate external barriers for school. And other times yet, it's facilitating professional learning around creating safe and inclusive learning environments for our queer identifying youth. Every day looks a little bit different, but the same central tenet is woven through all of them. Just make more room. One of the most profound examples I can provide for you about what this looks like in a tangible sense is the establishment of the Grand Rapids Union Youth Football Program. And I can tell you that because it's personal. If you look there at table 9, you'll see my son. He's a kid who's loved football for as long as he's been able to throw one. And in 150 years of the history of our school district, there wasn't a program for football. So we created one. I worked with a varsity coach, and we established a program that is accessible to all of our scholars, and I mean all of them, inclusive of their schools, their backgrounds, their genders, their prior experience, their ability to pay. We started as a fall tackle football program with 2 teams and maybe 40 players. Since then, we've expanded to include winter clinics, summer camps, a spring 7-on-7 league, coached by middle and high school kids. And in the last 4 years, we've seen our participation grow to over 400. As a career educator, I understand the significance of that. I understand the link between academics and extracurriculars, the importance of belonging and its impact on success for students in schools. And as a parent, my own child is proof of that. Like so many other kids in this program, I've watched my son develop as a football player, but I've watched him flourish as a learner and as a leader because of the opportunities it has provided. And while he's now too old to play in the youth program, he's still playing football for his school, and he continues to volunteer his time as a coach, just like his other teammates do, as a way of staying connected to the kids who are literally following in his footsteps. My son is thriving academically and athletically, and he truly belongs to a community of people who care about him and his success. Personally and professionally, that is what I hope for all of the children in my community, because that's what they deserve. I'd like to thank NMU for modeling for me how to provide that kind of opportunity, and I'd like to encourage all of you who are in this room to just keep making more of it, keep building bigger tables. Those 2 boys over there are proof of that. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Megan. Okay, now we're going to switch to the Alumni Achievement Award. The Alumni Achievement Award recognizes an NMU graduate who has notable professional achievements on a local or regional level. Other factors include contributions to the community and documented leadership at the regional or local level. Our 2024 Alumni Achievement Award honoree, Jim Thorburn, certainly checks all those boxes. Jim Thorburn is a retired detective and earned a Bachelor's of Science in Law Enforcement in 1991 from NMU. He is a decorated police officer with a 28-year career in law enforcement and was named Police Officer of the Year in both 1999 and again in 2018. Jim retired in 2022 as a detective and the Public Information Officer for the Allen Park Police Department. It was in that role where he nurtured his calling to bridge the divide between law enforcement and the communities they serve. Using humor, charisma, and a fair bit of fun, he was able to develop an incredibly successful social media footprint that is now being studied nationwide in departments big and small. In addition, Jim created and trademarked the program Cop on a Block to humanize the men and women behind the badge. In his retirement, he is an instructor with Police Technical, sharing his expertise with law enforcement agencies nationwide. Our recipient of the 2024 Alumni Achievement Award, Mr. Jim Thorburn.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I've stood many places in my career as a police officer. Drug houses, ice-covered freeways at 4 a.m., murder scenes, and even buying drugs in somebody's living room as an undercover police officer. But standing here, and especially now, after the first 3 people, I am shocked to be standing here. Good afternoon. I'm truly honored to accept this award in recognition. My journey to this award is what makes it unique. I would not be standing here without the help and grace of Northern Michigan University. Going through high school, football mattered, friends mattered, grades not so much. So much so I graduated with a 1.7 GPA. You can say my future forecasting was not great. It was not until other friends were getting acceptance letters from universities that caused me to think, what am I going to do? I had not sent out one application, nothing. I thought, I better do something. I sent out applications, and with a 1.7, those rejection letters were toned such as this, no way, Jim. I was at a loss, but I recall spending many vacations in the Keweenaw Peninsula, riding through Marquette, seeing the sign-on for Northern Michigan on US 41, and going through town, the old train trestle bridge that said Northern Michigan, which is now gone. So I researched and found they had a program back then called Right to Try. Whew, thank goodness. They judge you on what you do, not what you have done. You had 1 semester to prove you should be here. They provided all the resources to succeed. I learned how to be a student. After completing a semester at NMU, I proudly achieved a GPA of 2.8, and I graduated with a 3.4 overall, and I was on a dean's list numerous times. The campus and its community felt like home, instilling in me a deep sense of belonging. I attribute a significant portion of my achievements in the 28 years as a police officer to the solid foundation laid here at NMU. It's clear without the opportunity and support I received back in 1987, I would not be honored to receive this award today. During my 28 years, each year I passed as a police officer, I became more comfortable as a police officer. Certain things were becoming more evident to me. The gap between society and law enforcement was great, and that gap was only getting bigger. I found a huge factor in making that gap big were cell phones, society's need for information right now, as well as social media platforms. Those things were not going anywhere, so why not harness their power and help bridge the gap? I took a multifaceted approach to the problem. Use social media to make cops human, have fun, interact with your residents while sharing helpful information. The second area was to bring those crime prevention meetings out of the city hall and bring them into the neighborhoods. Get to know your residents, they get to know you. I call those meetings Cop on the Block. The meetings provide crime prevention tips. I also brought the crime stats for that particular neighborhood because everybody is so consumed with their cell phones now, nobody knows what's going on in your own neighborhood. And then enlighten people what's going on in your area. I also use the time to address current police incidents, providing the seeds of truth and clarity to that 6-second video you see on TikTok or Facebook, hoping to provide the seed that grows to put cops in a better position and a better light in society. I found the golden meetings was after the official meeting, the side conversations. This is where we were able to connect with our residents one-on-one. I also found when you bring a food truck, it really helps. The meetings were a huge hit, so much so other agencies asked me to help bring Cop on the Block to their communities. They had tremendous success with the meetings in those cities. The success also shrinks the gap. I realized I better trademark the name Cop on the Block. The meetings are great, but it's even better if you have an everyday connection. This is where social media comes in for the good. I personalize the police Facebook page. I make it fun, not all cop stuff. All cop stuff is all boring. Surprisingly, the bar for cops to be funny is incredibly low, so I was very successful there. The police Facebook page had a tongue-in-cheek tone. Is after 20 years as being a police officer, nothing I've seen on a daily basis shocked me anymore, so I could have a semi-sarcastic, but you need to know your audience as well. Sometimes I'd ask, what's for dinner? I might ask, what's the best drive to work song? Just general, everyday, non-cop stuff that went over very well. Thinking outside the box with community engagement was something I take pride in. In my time on the force, I orchestrated numerous engaging, innovative community events by embracing creativity. Among them were a cop donut eating competition that attracted participation from over 21 police departments across Metro Detroit and successfully generated $10,000 for autism awareness. Furthermore, during a series of snowstorms a few winters back, not UP snowstorms, Metro Detroit, but everybody was locked in, I coordinated a sledding event with participation from over 20 police departments. resulting in a remarkable $11,000 raised for charity. And that was done in a 24-hour period of the sledding. It was a fluke thing. It was the perfect storm, literally. The most fulfilling part was witnessing countless kids sledding alongside officers down the hill. It was truly heartwarming to see the community come together in such a positive and impactful way. Since retiring, I've been honored to stay connected to my passion by teaching and empowering law enforcement agencies across the country about the power of social media, community engagement, and working with the media. It's truly awesome witnessing these police departments sparking engaging conversations on social media, whether it's about dinner plans or your favorite Reese's treat. These lighthearted moments bring so much joy to the digital landscape. I firmly believe there is so much more to accomplish in this field. And hey, who doesn't love a nice Reese's Christmas tree during the season? It's all about spreading positivity, making a meaningful impact to help, and also helping solve crimes. Reach out, have fun, become ambassadors to your city, create an environment where people think of moving to your city because they have a fun and they have a caring police department. That's not very typical, but it sure should be. Thank you to my family, the Alumni Board, Northern Michigan University, and President Tesman. Thank you, everybody.
And congratulations again, Jim. The highest honor NMU Alumni Relations can bestow is the Distinguished Alumni Award. The Distinguished Alumni Award recognizes an NMU graduate who has documented exceptional achievement in their profession and has made transformative contributions to society, their discipline, or profession. It's my honor to introduce this year's 2024 Distinguished Alumni Award recipients, plural, Drs. Ann and Patrick Cashin. This is the first time the Distinguished Alumni Award is going to a married couple whose career paths have been so tightly interwoven. Ann Cashin, a retired doctor of optometry, earned a Bachelor of Arts in Biology in 1969 from NMU. Patrick Cashin, also a retired doctor of optometry, earned his NMU Bachelor of Arts in Psychology in 1966 and a Master of Arts in Education in 1969. Ann and Patrick earned their optometry degrees from Indiana University, go Hoosiers, Ann in 1974 and Patrick in 1973. Groundbreaking leaders in optometry and insurance, this husband and wife team operated a successful optometry practice. But they were also the founders of the first limited service HMO, health maintenance organization, in the United States in 1983. Specifically designed for eye care, this innovative idea influenced healthcare worldwide and helped lead to the creation of LS HMOs in more than 30 states. In 1990, they formed a laser and refractive surgery network for optometrists called New Sight Laser Network, one of the first in the country. So, congratulations to our 2024 Distinguished Alumni Award honorees, Drs. Ann and Patrick Cashin.
Thank you to all of you. Thank you, President Tesman and board members, for our award. We are greatly honored. Thank you also to our dear friend, Steve Mitchell, who nominated us for this award. We also have many thanks to our special family and friends in attendance today. Our son, Dan Cashin, a City of Milwaukee firefighter for the past 20 years. His very significant other, Jill Matner, who is coordinator of the Visually Impaired Educational Program in Kenosha. We also are honored to have Dave and Edie Ashelman, friends of many years, Delta Sigma Phi fraternity, little brother, big brother, and wonderful friends. And of course, and Edie is a native of Marquette. And we also have Tom and Mary Beatty from Iron Mountain, Delta Sigma Phi brother, and wonderful friends. We are grateful that all of you are here to share this award with us. It is most appreciated. At this point, because our lives are so intertwined after 58 years, I'm going to give a little bit of my background, and then Pat will go on to his topics. I'm from Powers, Michigan, the junction of US 2 and 41, a small UP town. I had 25 students in my graduating class. I was fortunate then, as my uncle funded a way for college needs, and my parents instilled in me a very hard work ethic. I was a biology/secondary education major. Met Doug Cashin, also known as Pat Cashin. I don't have two husbands. Married, completed the degree in '69. 1970, we went off to grad school, Indiana University School of Optometry. We were the first husband and wife couple accepted there as well. We completed our degrees, attained a Wisconsin license, 1974, and looked to practice. We wanted our own offices. We were one of the very last private practice offices in the Milwaukee area to be established. We started with one patient file in the drawer. We worked for other doctors. Pat will go on to mention the St. Francis Children's Center. We worked there until our offices were able to be sufficient on their own. In many ways, for me, as a female, in at that time a very male-dominated profession, it was challenging. But I felt if I did a great job, stayed there, and worked it through, that good things will happen, success would come. And it did. Moving forward, after 30 years of practice, we ended up with 4 offices of our own, sold them for asking price in 2004, and retired. But we didn't retire from life. We decided it was payback time to education. We established the Dr. Cashin Scholarship in Escanaba, Powers, and Fredonia, Wisconsin, a very small rural farming community where we had an office at one time. The provision for those students is that one scholarship to a graduating high school senior in financial need, desiring to go on to university or technical school. The amounts were equal for one girl and one boy per year. We asked the students to send us notes as to their future plans and goals. We have saved them all. This is one of many. So in conclusion, thank you once again for our award. Education changed my life, and Northern Michigan University was a huge part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Well, I'm the other half, Patrick Cashin. It is fitting that we receive this honor together because we went through Northern together, got married as students at Northern, went through Indiana University together, practiced together for 30 years, and have been married for 58. So to have both our names here is certainly appropriate, and I want to thank everyone on the board of directors, board of trustees, of course, President Tessman, and anyone else who might have, Steve Mitchell, and anyone else who might have helped us get this great award. We are honored by it and appreciative of it. We worked very hard in our life, with Northern Michigan University being the foundation of our education before we set out. The first job I got was as a teacher in the inner city of Chicago. I remember it, it was 55, 60 years ago. It was 3700 West Douglas Boulevard in the southwest area of Chicago. It was inner city. From this school out, for about 4 miles, was all black students and people. This was very difficult. It was my first job, but it was also unique to the students I taught. This was the beginning of Illinois integrating the school system, and they started with faculty. For this school, I was the faculty in the classroom. I was the only white teacher, and they had never seen a white person. Majority of these children had never seen a white male before, or a white person before. When I stood up in front of the 4th grade class, which consisted of teenage people, Chicago at the time didn't socially pass people. If you didn't go to class, you didn't pass. So we had 12, 13, 14 years old kids in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. In the 6th grade, we had a couple 17-year-old kids that I became very close to. I remember their names, and that was a while ago. A.C. Chairs, Amos Colonzo Chairs, and Jesse McGee. And the reason I became so close to them is I couldn't control the classrooms. Because they didn't think I'd last more than a few days, they didn't give me a classroom. I had to replace any teacher who didn't show up. I'd walk in, I wouldn't know one person's name. But what happened is A.C. Chairs and McGee were getting kicked out of class every day. And the principal we had was almost a total no-show. I met him once. So they gave me the title assistant principal. That was just to cover. So these two young students, Chairs and McGee, come down to my room. And I mean, my room was not real organized to start with. I can remember once I had what they thought was a bomb. One of the girls stood up and said, "There's a bomb in the room." And I wasn't the first one out, but I exited with the rest of them. Well, it wasn't a bomb. It was a bottle of booze in a brown bag. But the bottom line is it gives you an idea of this classroom. And the classroom was quite difficult. When McGee and Chairs got there, I thought, oh boy, that's all I need. They were 17. There's 2 more big kids in this room. But I lucked out. I think somebody stronger than me was looking out for me. Chairs wanted to learn. McGee did anything Chairs wanted. Chairs ran the school. He also ran the Vice Lords, the gang in the area. And McGee was the biggest kid in the school. So I have them here, and I decided I'd negotiate. Believe me, this was a time of survival. And so I took a look at any opportunity I got. And so I told Chairs, I'll tutor you after school if you'll help me with the class. Well, Chairs wasn't going to class much anyway, and he was 17 in the 5th or 6th grade, so he agreed. McGee did whatever Chairs did, and McGee was bigger than Chairs. So with the help of the 2 of them, I went from a classroom, and believe me, my philosophy is all children can learn if we can learn how to teach them. And I modified it slightly for my conclusion. But basically, that's what I heard from the Children's Center at St. Francis Children's Activity and Achievement Center, Glendale, Wisconsin. If you ever want to see a fantastic children's, they don't want to use the word disability school. They want to use something more positive, activity and achievement. But their center has won national and international awards. They're on Port Washington Road, about 60th Street. Anyway, back to the thing. With chairs staying after school, and McGee did what chairs did, so they both did, I had no trouble with the kids. I knew this was going to be the case because when they walked into the room in the 4th grade, and I had these people, I went from hoping I could keep the students in their desks to hoping I could keep the students in the room to hoping I could keep the students in the school. Because I thought if they get out of this school, I'm in trouble. Well, with chairs and McGee, I had no problem. And I did stay after with McGee and tutored him, and chairs, because chairs did anything McGee did. And we ended up getting other kids that came down to see us. Well, eventually, I went to different classrooms because that's what I was supposed to do. But I made sure I took them with me. I started with chairs and McGee at about the 3rd grade level. We went up, and by the end of the year, to about the 6th grade level, maybe not quite. When I left there for one very major reason. A.C. Chairs was living with his grandmother, and his grandmother came to see me, and she said, you know, you're in danger. She said, you're coming into this, and you're getting known a little bit, and there's people that are not happy with that. And so you can't stay after school anymore because it's too late when you leave. You've got to leave, get on a bus quick, and get back. Well, after doing that for a couple weeks, and at the time Ann was pregnant, so Ann went back to Wisconsin, or actually to Michigan, stay with my parents. It got to the fact that it was almost, or close to the end of the school year, and I just told them that I can't come in here anymore. I got enough information now that I'm at risk. And it was kind of funny because after teaching different classes all the time, because they didn't want to give me a class because I didn't figure I'd be around long enough, they offered me a class, and before I left, they offered me the principal position. And I left there with mixed feelings. I really cared for the kids because I could teach. I had control of the classroom. And from that episode, I went on to become a school psychologist in Orlando, Florida, work at the Children's Center that I mentioned earlier, which was a learning center, which was a very well-known learning center, and then practice optometry with my wife. I specialized in vision-related learning, having a background in psych and in vision. And I published an article at Indiana University with 2 psychologists. I was working, the optometry or vision school was working with I was working with the psych department too. And I was going to bring that, but I forgot it. The title of it was A Vision Interpretation of the Wechsler Intelligence Scale for Children and Adults. And there had been nothing published on that before. I don't know if there's anything since then. But Northern was the basis. I was a psych graduate here at Northern, and also Holy Name High School was a great high school, so Holy Name to Northern to the world. And I still feel every child can learn if we can learn how to teach them, but I also wanted to add one thing, provided that they are in a safe and healthy environment, because I also taught in Orlando in a very poor white area, and I won't go into it, but that was the hardest or most challenging position I ever had. And I realized that if a child is not healthy and scared to death, etc., they're very, very, almost impossible to get their attention span and teach. So all children can learn if we can learn how to teach them, and we can help their environment. And with that, I think we're the last group. I'll pass, and I'm keeping you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, congratulations, Ann and Patrick. It's now my honor to introduce, or I guess probably reintroduce, the president of Northern Michigan University, Dr. Brock Tessman. Brock.
Well, thank you so much, Bill. Such a pleasure to be here. I want to say congratulations to all of our award winners. So inspiring to hear your stories. Patrick and Ann, thank you for sharing your story. It's so great to hear about the team that you've comprised over your career and how that works within your marriage. I want to point out my lovely wife, Kristen, is here with us. I'm so happy to have her here. We are also a team. There's one concrete difference, though, between the kind of team we have and the team that you have. You said that it's your better half with Ann, Patrick. I think that's what you called it. I like to think of it as my better 2/3 or 3/4, depending on the day. But the team does make everything work, and I appreciated that about your story. I appreciated so much the team element in everyone's stories. I think with the Cashins being here together, and then our other award winners having family or friends in the audience, it just highlights the way in which team plays a role in these kinds of momentous occasions. Very quick remarks here. I know we have a busy, wonderful weekend ahead of us, and so we're all anxious to get out into the nice afternoon and celebrate. Again, big thank you to our catering staff. I want to thank our alumni relations staff. A number of people were involved in making today possible, from Brad and Michelle Cooley, Christy and Michelle. I do know, however, Kevin, and in particular Kylie and Kelsey, put so much time and energy into making today a success. Carly, thank you for your help with the awards. Ryan with the pictures. Let's give everyone a round of applause for making today possible. And also, of course, thank you to the various boards that are here. The Board of Trustees, thank you. Such a pleasure to work for you. Our foundation board, I know, has representation here. And then, of course, the Alumni Advisory Board. In particular, to Chris Charbonneau, the president of the board, and Bill, your role as MC this afternoon. Thank you. And then there is a little bit of a twist this year, and it's a really positive change. I was pretty intent on joining others and pushing this through, but we do have current students who are here at lunch with us. If you're a current student at Northern, and I think there's a handful, could you please stand? And there's a rhyme and reason for you to be here. I know you know folks in the room, and so that connection is important. But also, these awards are really about inspiration. And I'll tell you, it goes both ways. But the inspiration that can be brought from a student presence to all of the other attendees, and I hope the inspiration that our students feel and see in our award winners as they come to the podium, share their story, and give you a sense of what a degree from Northern Michigan University can do for you. That inspiration was palpable in the room this afternoon, and so I'm so glad our students could attend. So this is our homecoming celebration. It's our 125th anniversary. You may have heard that a time or two over the last couple of days. You still have a ways to go. You'll hear it yet again. There's been a lot of change on this campus and in the community over the years. And whether that change is in the nature of the facilities on campus, the programming that's available, some of the people and leadership changes over the years, so much has changed. And in fact, I learned another thing that has changed over the years. It turns out that back in Joe Prinzy's time, it was uphill and it was snowy every day. And actually, no matter what direction on campus you went, it was uphill and in the snow. And that's different now. We have tunnels and other ways of handling that. But there's been a lot of change on our campus over the years. There are a lot of things that have not changed. And actually, I'd argue that most things haven't changed fundamentally on this campus. The things that make Northern Michigan University a special place, the role that our faculty play, especially in those close research and mentoring relationships. I know a number of our faculty are here this afternoon. You know you play a crucial and consistent role in promoting Northern's excellence. Of course, the role that experiential learning plays, whether that's work-based learning, whether it's study abroad, whether it's service in the community, that hasn't changed over the years. Of course, this beautiful natural setting that we exist in here, that hasn't changed over the years. And I'll leave you by saying that I think that the role of our alumni also remains unchanged. It is such a crucial role for our alumni at Northern. You demonstrate for our current students, perhaps for very recent graduates, new alumni, that Northern Michigan University produces graduates that excel across the fields. Just think about Jim Thorburn, Jim Mansfield, the Cashins, Megan, Ryan, the different areas of excellence that were on display this afternoon. Northern Michigan University is a comprehensive university. We train students in all different fields. And guess what? We train those students with specific skills and specific knowledge, but I don't think that's exactly what makes those students successful. It's a necessary condition, but not sufficient. The sufficient condition remains unchanged over time. And it's that when you come to Northern Michigan University, yes, you learn in the classroom, and yes, you pick up the technical skills and training, but you also learn what it means to have a deep sense of empathy, to believe in community and team, and also to develop a deep sense of service, not only on this campus and in this community, but in the communities that you go on and serve as you become a professional, an adult, start your own family, and move on. That will remain unchanged, whether we're talking about today's Northern or we're talking about Northern 7 generations or 125 years in the future. You all, we have a wonderful rest of the weekend planned for you. I hope to see you this evening, maybe at a concert, certainly at a parade, hopefully at the football game tomorrow afternoon. Happy 125th anniversary, Northern Michigan University. We all have reason to celebrate because we've all played a part in getting this university to the great place it's in today. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Chris. Have a wonderful afternoon.
All right. Well, thank you, President Tessman. And this afternoon, I think you'll agree that we have honored alumni who have truly achieved some amazing accomplishments. It's one of the most important things that we do as an Alumni Relations Office and Alumni Advisory Board. Now, it's important for you to note that each person who received an award today was nominated by someone. Our Alumni Relations team works very hard at keeping track of all of the outstanding achievements that our alumni are doing out there in the world. But without feedback from the alumni network, too many alumni may go unnoticed and unrecognized. So we all know that there are many alumni out there just doing amazing things. So I'm asking each of you to consider alumni who you feel should be nominated for an award. If you know someone, please reach out. Be an ambassador for the Alumni Awards program. Contact the Alumni Relations Office if you'd like to nominate someone. And as we look forward to the rest of the weekend, I hope you're going to be able to join us for some of the other great activities, including the Homecoming Parade shortly, followed by the 125th Anniversary Celebration outdoor concert featuring the country duo Maddie and Tay later today. We also hope that you can join us for tomorrow's tailgate party at the Superior Dome from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. prior to the kickoff of the football game, where your Northern Michigan University Wildcats will undoubtedly hand a defeat to the folks from Alma College. Following football, you can also find alumni from your area at various local establishments across the town, where you can perhaps share a cocktail and a story with some of your friends and colleagues from back in the day. So again, thank you all for being here. Congratulations again to our award recipients. And as always, isn't it a great day to be a Wildcat? Thank you, everybody.